Hey, what's up guys, it's Craft Phoenix back to another video today. And today's May 19th and we're making a tadpole care video. Now we're going to be going from the egg all the way till frog, essentially. So for care wise, when you have the eggs, they're pretty easy. A lot of the Dendrobates species will be laying in the petri dishes themselves, so you don't really have to do anything other than label it with what species and when. And other than that, you can just leave it in the petri dish. The only thing you're going to want to do is cover it about halfway up the eggs with reverse osmosis water. This will basically allow for proper humidity in the petri dish and allow them not to desiccate. So some of the thumbnail species and smaller dart frog species will like to lay in or on the leaves of bromeliads or pothos or something like that. And that can be a little bit more difficult to get them off. The only thing you're going to want to do is just grab a metal spoon and scrape them off. You have to be gentle, but you can be more forceful than you might think. Once you scrape them onto the petri dish, it's basically the same process. You're going to want to fill it up halfway up the side of the egg with reverse osmosis water and cover it. Now, it takes typically anywhere from 12 to 21 days for the tadpole to hatch. As you can see in the center of the petri dish right now, there's a little baby tadpole in there, and he has broken out of his egg. So once they hatch, you'll be able to tell that they're ready to hatch. They won't have little red veins in their egg anymore, and once they have hatched, they'll be straight instead of kind of curled up like they're in an egg. They also might be swimming around and moving, like you can see in there. He's just been kind of sitting, but that's typical of the first week or so of the tadpole's life. So now, as you can see here, we have a tadpole that has hatched out of its egg successfully. As you can tell, its brother or sister or whatever was not quite so successful. Typically, you're going to want to remove those, but honestly, it's been like 12 hours since I last checked, and he was in the egg yesterday and out of the egg now. So now for what you're going to need to set them up is basically a container. I have a sticky note on the front that says when he hatched and when he's going in here. The next thing you're going to want is also about a square inch or however big amount of the Indian almond leaf you want. You're going to want to put that in the container. I also have some moss from my fish tank sitting right here, and I throw in a good hefty pinch of that as well. Now, as you can see right now, I'm actually brewing the tadpole tea, which is essentially Indian almond leaves in boiled osmosis water, so it leaches the tannins and antibacterial and antimicrobial factors into the water. I'm not going to be able to add it right now just because it's still very, very hot, so I'll be adding it later on, not on video. But just know that that is very useful to have around and helps the health of your tadpole. So at this point, all you're going to want to do is fill up your rearing container. I have some reverse osmosis water right here, and I'm going to pour that in there. And then I'll just wait for the tadpole tea to finish before I add it in. I want it to be completely cooled down, but I'm going to be adding our little guy into the tank right now. So you can see him there. I'll bring him nice and close. You just scoop him up into your pipette and spin him out. And just like that, you've set up your tadpole. Now for care-wise, you're going to want to be doing a 100% water change once a week. I know in some of the other like Josh's frogs and things like that, they just have like 32-ounce containers and they add another 4 ounces every week. For me, that's takes up way too much room. I don't think that's really that feasible. So essentially what I do is just leave them in here until next week. I will remove the tadpole, put them into a new container filled with reverse osmosis water and tadpole tea, and then transport the tadpole into there, move the moss and the leaf into the new container, and go from there. Now for the first 5 to 7 days, you're not going to need to feed these guys because they're just absorbing their egg sac or egg yolk. However, once you're finished and that week has gone and you've done your first water change, you're going to want to feed them with something. Now, I can't find Ceramicron anywhere in Calgary, so if you live in Canada and you're watching this and you know where to buy it, hit me up. But essentially what I'm using is this. It's going to be super reflective. It's the New Life Spectrum Small Fry Starter. It's basically a powder that I coat these tadpole bites with. These are aquatic frog and tadpole food. I basically throw it in there and let them devour it. It's quite simple. I'll actually do it for this guy right here. So all I do is, I don't even think you can see that. There you go, there's a couple pellets in my hands you can see, and I just drop them in. The tadpoles will find them, they'll consume them, and they will grow. It's really a lot of fun. Honestly, they aren't much effort whatsoever. When you have hundreds of them, yes, it can be a little bit of a task, but I was able to fill this whole tray, this like black tray material here, with probably 16 to 20 babies or tadpoles, and I would be able to do a complete water change on every single tadpole in about 10, maybe 15 minutes. So it's not a huge time investment. You get a huge reward because in the end you get little baby frogs and they're so cute. Essentially, they go through a stage of growth, like this guy here. You can see he's still growing up. And then when they're about ready to come out of water, they look like this guy. This guy's one arm is still stuck in his little like arm growing sac. I don't know what that is technically called, but that is probably about a week shy of coming out of water. It will absorb its tail, it will begin to hop around and look even more like a frog. And then when all's said and done, it turns into little froglets like those Renitomea ventrimaculata in there. I have a bunch in here. That's just the one that I saw. Maybe you guys can see more. And then once they're all grown up, they will go into this dart frog rearing tank and eventually go up for sale. So I'm pretty sure I covered everything in this video. There's not a heck of a lot to it. It's really quite simple. I know even when I first started, I was kind of freaking out, and it's actually so much easier than you think. Now, when I first started, I did not do the weekly water changes, and it took months and months and months of little to no growth, and then once I started doing the 100% water changes, they just erupted. So I strongly recommend doing water changes. Some places you find will say don't, but I'm telling you, you probably should. Now, I don't know what we want to do with this guy. He's probably hiding. You can't see him anyway, but he's a really cool tadpole. I will keep you guys in the loop, and I'll update you on the reptile room tours coming up in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, drop a like down below. If you want to see more of my videos, subscribe to my channel. May Madness, baby. A video every day in May, so keep that in mind. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, something I might have missed, then drop them in the comments down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Graphic Phoenix, out of here.